Israel has expanded military operations across the occupied West Bank following a deadly confrontation near Nablus. While its government has separately approved the deployment of an international force to Gaza, the developments mark a further tightening of Israeli control across the Palestinian territories, even as violence by Israeli settlers intensifies and questions remain over the future administration of Gaza. Israeli forces raided towns and villages across the occupied West Bank over the weekend, arresting dozens of Palestinians and establishing checkpoints on major roads. The operation was ordered by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after 4 Palestinians and 2 Israeli soldiers were killed in a shootout in the village of Tal, southwest of Nablus on Friday. Israelis and Palestinians have given conflicting accounts of how the confrontation began. Video footage reviewed by Al Jazeera appeared to show around 20 Israeli settlers, many carrying rifles, approaching the village. Residents came out to confront them before Israeli soldiers arrived. A villager then seized a weapon from a settler and an exchange of fire followed. The Israeli military said it was raiding the homes of Palestinians suspected of involvement in the violence. It added that some properties were being prepared for possible sealing and demolition. Israel routinely demolishes the family homes of Palestinians accused of carrying out deadly attacks. Human rights groups describe the practice as collective punishment, which is prohibited under international law. Palestinian news agency Wafa reported that at least 66 people were arrested across Tal, Ramallah, Jenin, Hebron, Bethlehem, and Tulkarm. Israeli forces also conducted raids across Jenin city and several surrounding towns and villages. There were reports of violence against medical workers. The Palestine Red Crescent Society said one of its paramedics was assaulted in Masafer Yatta, south of Hebron. Witnesses also reported an attack on a paramedic near Nablus. The military operation unfolded alongside a surge in attacks by Israeli settlers. In Kusra, southeast of Nablus, settlers allegedly set fire to the newly built Al-Rahma mosque and spray-painted the words Jewish revenge on its walls. Video verified by Al Jazeera showed flames inside the building. Another attempted arson attack was reported at a mosque in Khor, south of Tulkarm. Local officials said worshippers extinguished the fire before it reached the mosque's main prayer area. Settlers also entered Palestinian villages, damaged property, and wrote threatening graffiti on buildings. The United Nations and human rights organizations have repeatedly criticized Israeli authorities for failing to hold violent settlers accountable. Israeli settlers live in communities considered illegal under international law, although Israel disputes this. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has announced plans to build another 763 housing units in the Eli settlement, south of Nablus. The expansion comes 3 months before Israel's general election. Opinion polls suggest Netanyahu's government coalition could lose power, while settlement construction remains popular among parts of his right-wing political base. Hundreds of Israelis demonstrated in Tel Aviv on Saturday against settler violence and the military operation in the West Bank. Police arrested 9 protesters, accusing them of blocking roads and holding an unauthorized demonstration. Violence in the occupied West Bank has risen sharply since the Gaza war began in October 2023. According to Palestinian figures, Israeli forces and settlers have killed at least 1,185 Palestinians in the territory since then, including more than 250 children. More than 24,000 Palestinians have been detained. In a separate development, Israel's Security Cabinet has approved legal measures allowing an International Stabilisation Force to enter Gaza. The force is part of US President Donald Trump's 20-point plan for the territory and will operate in coordination with the Israeli military. According to Reuters, the initial force will include about 200 personnel from countries considered friendly to Israel, including Uganda and Morocco. No deployment date has been announced. Israel will retain the authority to decide which countries may contribute personnel. The force is expected to operate in areas outside direct Israeli control. Israeli forces currently occupy close to 70% of Gaza, while most of its nearly 2 million residents are confined to an increasingly restricted area. Trump's plan also provides for an international board of peace to oversee reconstruction alongside a Palestinian technocratic body known as the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza. It further calls for Hamas to disarm and for Israel to withdraw from the territory. Neither process has been completed. A ceasefire was agreed in October, but Palestinian authorities continue to report near-daily Israeli attacks. Gaza's health ministry says 1,200 Palestinians have been killed and 3,888 wounded since the agreement took effect. The Israeli cabinet decision comes a day before Netanyahu is expected to travel to Washington. The deployment may move Trump's plan forward, but fundamental questions remain over who will control Gaza, whether Israel will fully withdraw, and what authority Palestinians will have over their own territory.